This is the systems map that I have developed for this new system that I am proposing for the college. Let's start from the very beginning because really it has to start with the student. So we've got the student here on the outside, as can be indicated here in the orange. And the orange is typically the student. So the student gets accepted by an email to the college. Now the student then has to go about and get a few things. So number one, they have to get their study permits, and let's assume that they've got their study permits. The next thing they need to do is they make the decision as to whether they want to come to the college or not. They also in this sort of process with the study permit, they also need to know that they have the financial means to be able to come, but that usually comes with the study permit. So now they've made the decision to come to the college and they've said yes, this is where they want to go. And now the next thing that they're going to do is pay their fees. Once they've paid their fees, they actually get an opportunity to get invited to an orientation, a virtual session. It's always virtual. And this is where things start to happen. So they get invited to a virtual orientation by the student life department, and then they come to an actual seminar. At that particular seminar, at that webinar, they get to learn about all the resources and all the information that is available to them at the college. From there, and again, this is totally optional on the part of the student if this is something that they decide to do. It's not mandatory, but it's an optional opportunity for them. Most do take part in it because they do want to know what to expect. So then what happens is they get directed to a website that has all this information with all the resources and services that are available to them at the college. From there, they can then kind of arrive in Canada. In this website, there's housing information, mental health information, registration information, all the information that they currently need, and then they arrive in Canada. So here's where the new process would take place. After the students have paid their fees, and they this is a couple of different options here. After they've paid their fees and they do go to this webinar, they can then opt and get a peer mentor, because that's one of the things that they can do. They currently can do that as well, but they can do it in one of two ways. They can actually, the new way would be that after they get the invitation, they directly get offered an opportunity to go to a peer mentor, or they can go through the information session and then get hooked up with a peer mentor. This is a decision that they get to make. Now, one of the things that is being introduced that is new is a new initiative called the Passport. The Passport would be an initiative where the students would have to complete a number of modules, kind of familiarizing themselves with processes that go on within Canada. They would go through these modules, things like what is the weather in Canada like? What are the types of foods that we have? Things that are very acclimatizing to the students so that they get a little bit of a sense of what they are to expect. And then what they would have to do is they would have to present that to their peer mentor. Currently, that process is not being done, but it is something that would be very valuable because the students are really a little bit in culture shock when they come to the country. So this would help them a little bit acclimatize. And then they could then go to the peer mentor, which can help them in a number of ways. Another new introduction would be this whole area, which is really what I'm proposing, which is the part-time job support, because currently they don't have that. So again, it would be twofold. We would get employers to be involved in this process. The employers would provide information that they could provide to the webinar, either coming in live, or they would have something that was pre-recorded that the student life people would show to the incoming students about job opportunities and how to go about finding job opportunities in Canada, and then kind of introducing them to the idea of, you know, what do these employers look for in these part-time candidates. Now, at the website, as you can see here, one of the new initiatives that would be put into this new website would be the part-time job portal, so that the students would then be able to access this information when they're not in the country, and employers could be posting these opportunities here on this particular portal. Now, one of the things that is also going to be a new introduction is this mandatory resume training that again would be in a module format, so that the student knows how to apply for these jobs, because currently their resumes are not resonating necessarily with the employer. So they would go through this mandatory training before being able to enter into the portal, and then they would be able to start looking for these jobs, and the employers would be providing it. An additional thing that we would be asking for the employers to do is to provide information sessions that the students would be able to access through this kind of a link that they can then provide, and it would go back and forth. So that would be really useful. And then the employer hosts these virtual interviews that they could then give to the students. And once the students have done this manual resume training, they've gone to the portal, they look at the part-time jobs before entering into Canada, they go to the portal, and then there is this link between the virtual jobs that the employers, the virtual interviews, and the virtual job opportunities. Now, there could be a virtual job fair, and also an opportunity for the students to communicate directly with the employers. Once this is all done and the jobs are offered, then the students would arrive in Canada, and they would then, you know, there would be this connection between them and the employer. That is the proposed new systems map that I am proposing for this new initiative.